It's my intro.
I'm your oldest brother, Dexter McElroy.
We're gonna get copyright strike. Hi, I'm your older brother. Hey, everybody.
You're my older brother, or you're everyone else's older brother?
I'm their older brother. I'm your older brother.
I was just listening to Mabim Bam today.
My brother, and me.
Yeah, they had a good time.
Which episode?
468,783. It's pretty crazy that they're still kicking after all those weeks.
Dang.
So, yeah, I know.
Wow. Last I heard they're on 530, but all right.
Yeah, well,
it's pretty good.
The power of Halloween magic. It only allows me to listen to content from the future that has to do with comedy podcasts. So, unfortunately, I was not able to listen to any of these episodes from the future because we're not funny.
What does that mean?
We're not funny.
Oh, because we're not funny? Oh, I thought you meant like because we died like tomorrow.
Oh,
and that's why the podcast
this episode never comes out. Whoa.
Hi, everybody. This episode's the last one.
A little dark question. Would you want me to put this episode out if you died tonight?
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Yeah. That's it. That's all I got.
Would you put this episode out if I died tonight? Like, would you?
No, because you have all the files.
Right.
And I don't know how to edit podcasts. So
that's true. So sinking ship is only one way, right? So that's true. So sinking ship is only one way, right? So if you're dead,
I would put it out.
I could still put it out, but
I'd put it out without edits, nothing taken out, nothing added.
Fair enough.
Except might just take you out, and then it's just a recording of me. Think about it, because you're no longer there.
Yeah.
Hence, it's just half of the Disney Bus.
But it is a Halloween episode, so I feel like you could put a disclaimer and be like, hey, this other voice, this nerdier, higher-pitched voice.
Is the ghost of my brother.
He actually died right after this episode. So, all right, I'm going to knock on wood just in case, a little
Samaris.
That was awful to hear. It sounded like a Xbox Live chat. So.
Oh, sweet. Well,
yeah.
I'm glad.
Anyways,
I hurt my knuckle, so.
This is a wonderful Disney Bus podcast Halloween special. We're covering Bride of Boogedy.
Hey, for us, Halloween's tomorrow, but for you, it was probably a week ago.
You don't think I can turn this around by tomorrow?
I don't know. You might. I don't know what you got going on.
I think I will.
All right,
happy Halloween,
tomorrow.
Everyone. I think I will.
All right,
happy Halloween,
tomorrow.
Everyone. Hopefully you are not going to crazy raging parties because there is still a pandemic raging across the United States and the world. So
you better just be Zooming your neighbors for that sweet candy instead.
Just eat candy at home. It's so easy to buy. Sorry, kiddos.
I just bought like $15 worth of it.
Yeah.
Whoops.
It's a weird time.
I can do that.
2020 would have been really nice for holidays, Ben, because Halloween was on a Saturday. That was also on the weekend. And I think Christmas is on a Sunday. That's all I got. That's all I got for you. But
I only remember that St. Patrick's Day was on a weekend because that was the weekend after my university closed down. So
I remember.
And that's when we recorded it's Luck of the Irish, episode 2 of
episode 2 because you're stealing Rachel's thunder because that was
episode 4.
Maybe this is just a spooky podcast and we actually don't cover anything other than that because this is our third spooktacular film unless you do count spooktacular film unless you do count leprechauns as monsters. Then
Nope.
maybe Luck of the Irish. No,
that's not the nicest thing you could have said about leprechauns, but I'll let that one slide.
Why am I being offensive?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I don't think they'd like it. Yeah, I mean, I think so. I don't think they'd like it.
Well, to any leprechaun listeners out there listening to this Halloween
Get
special
taller. Get dunked on.
Whoa, I thought you were trying to be nice. And
no, it was a joke because the basketball movie.
Oh, because of their humiliating defeat against the high school high school boys.
I could not tell you another fact about that movie. If you ask me like a character's name, I will not.
Yeah,
I will not remember.
I was trying to think of the main character's name. Seamus?
I'm gonna guess.
Bad. Whatever.
So
this is Bride of Boogedy. If you don't know what Bride of Boogedy is, I don't know what to tell you because neither did I until last January. So I totally understand and see where you're coming from. It was released on television in the year 1987. Part of the Disney Sunday movie, which was a thing they did on Sundays. They did short television specials. They were totally random. It could have been Bride of Boogedy. It could have been a documentary about lions, whatever. But it's a sequel, documentary about lions, whatever. But it's a sequel to 1986's Mr. Boogedy. And you're in for a wild time if you haven't seen it. If you have seen it and you are here to listen to our experiences, welcome. And might I say, boogedy boogedy, welcome. And might I say, boogedy boogedy boo to you.
Wow. Well, first of all, we all know that's a curse that Mr. Boogedy says all the time. So for you just to throw that willy-nilly at our listeners.
Yeah, was it a welcome or was it a threat?
30 of our listeners.
For our not even announced episode?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Well,
I have full confidence in that.
Fingers crossed. I appreciate that. Yeah, but it's Halloween, so we thought, hey, why not continue with our experiences? Our first episode of the Disney Best podcast was about exploring right when we got that subscription, and we said, this is totally out of left field. We have no idea what it is. Who's this guy's meatloaf-looking face? What's he doing here? And Disney Plus released Bride of Boogedy a couple months later, and of course, you gotta finish what you started and really seal. You gotta finish what you started and really seal the tomb with this arc. So here we are, right, Ben?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just looking up some facts about what potentially happened. I like to do this sometimes. So, like, what happened on the release date of movies that we watch?
Yeah.
I want you to on the release date of movies that we watch.
Yeah.
I want you to try and guess just one thing that happened on April 12th, 1987.
Okay. Could you give me a category?
A historical event.
Was it like a political historical event?
It just happened.
Did it happen in the United States?
Yeah, sure, I guess.
Was it part of the movie, TV, entertainment industry?
No. Do you want me just to tell you?
Yeah, I'm not going to be good at guessing.
Okay, well, two good things happened.
Nice.
And then I'll read you straight from the website. In the 51st U.S. Masters, Larry Mize chipped it in from 140 feet to beat Greg Norman.
Dang. I was rooting for Greg Norman. I had $20 on Greg Norman.
I know, and Brendan Urie was born, but that's a different thing.
Are you saying?
No.
I feel like...
Is Brendan Urie perhaps just the embodiment of Boogedy himself?
I mean, maybe. I feel like I have seen Brendan Urie in a pilgrim costume. I don't know why, but I feel like I have.
Is that one of those memories that we all feel like we've had?
I feel like I have.
Is that one of those memories that we all feel like we've had? You know, like the TikToks that just show you like the back of a mall, and it's like we've all been here before.
Right.
You know?
Or the Berenstain Bears.
Yeah, like I've never been to the back of a mall, but like I know what it looks like.
I've been to a back of the mall.
But like, I know what it looks like.
I've been to a back of the mall.
Stranger Things season 3.
Great show. But we can't talk about that because that's on. See, I'm gonna put a little bleep in there so it sounds like I said Netflix. But
question.
Yeah, what's up?
What have you been watching recently? This is a little question. I want to just talk about what have you been watching recently?
On Disney Plus specifically?
Anything.
Well, actually, I have my girlfriend Rachel and we have been watching many Halloween themed movies or like horror films. So I've seen 16 movies this past month, which is
You're insane.
Yeah. Do you want me to list them all off?
No. Name.
Okay, I won't. I guess.
In order of your favorite, I need you to rank them all right now. Quick.
Without
off
looking?
The cuffs. Speedy. No, with looking, but without looking. With just looking at the ones you've said.
No discussion. Got it.
No, have you already ranked them?
Yeah, I have ranked them.
Well, of course you have. Well, then just read them without looking.
What? How could I read them without
say
looking?
Them?
Because reading by definition is without
say
looking.
Them.
Because reading by definition is
okay.
With I don't know, like sight or braille, but I don't know braille.
Well, then how does somebody read something aloud if reading is all visual?
Oh. Okay. Coming in last place,
right?
number 16th, Halloween Town 2, Calabar's
right?
Number 16th, Halloween Town 2, Calabar's Revenge. Yeah, I said it.
Ugh,
I know there's a bunch of Halloween Town stands out there, but both Ben and I have no nostalgia for those movies because we never watched them.
That is a lie.
We did watch them?
That is a lie.
You have nostalgia?
No nostalgia. I have weird nostalgia when we lived on our rental house. I won't say the street because I don't want anyone finding it.
Why would you have to say the street name for me to remember?
Because that's how we refer to it. Okay. I guess.
Go
refer
ahead.
to it as the house. You can bleep that out.
Oh, God. They're going to find us.
They don't know where we're from. Hopefully they flag in the
Continue
background.
your experience.
Okay.
They won't see it because this is a podcast.
I don't know. Okay. Maybe it's the same thing with reading aloud. They could maybe see it.
Okay, so now they have two important details about us.
Okay. Moving past it.
Hey, what's your mother's...
Moving past it.
Hey, what's your mother's maiden name?
When it was...
Don't answer that. Shut up. Okay.
Greg Norman. I once watched it on, you know how we had like the little game room that we had there with like the TV with the VHS player in it? That had Disney Channel TV. On it. And it had Halloween Town on it, one channel TV. On it. And it had Halloween Town on it once. And I watched it on there. I'm pretty sure.
The first Halloween
I also,
Town?
Yeah. I know I've seen the first Halloween Town when I was a... No, there's not. Don't tell me there's only
Halloween
two.
Towns. There's Halloween
Town.
Only
two.
Halloween Town 2, Calabar's Revenge. Halloween.
They placed Marnie.
Yeah, they did in the fourth one. Return to Halloween.
We can't keep talking about it. Anyways, Halloween
Rachel's
Town,
favorite
perfect.
is Halloween Town High. So coming in 15th place is Halloween Town. Again, no nostalgia for it, so don't like it that much. 14th. I have never seen it before. Hotel Train that I despise in animated movies is they had a dance number at the end.
Mm-hmm. The only movie that can do that is Shrek.
Yeah, that Shrek did it, but
Shrek did it, and themselves. Nobody else can do it after Shrek did it. Yes.
Coming in 13th is The Conjuring. Misses in there, but The Conjuring 2 I think was pretty interesting. It led me to doing some Wikipedia searching after that, and I liked that a lot.
All right, skip to number 5. Skip to 5. We don't have time for this.
Number 12, Frankenweenie. Number 11, Little Monsters.
Original.
On Hulu. Number 12, Frankenweenie. Number 11, Little Monsters.
Original.
On Hulu.
Original or animated?
The animated Frankenweenie. I thought you didn't want me to give you any more clarity, and here you are asking me about when.
I just want to clarify which one, because there's at least 3 Frankenweenie movies.
I think there's 2 Frankenweenie.
Because there's at least 3 Frankenweenie movies.
I think there's 2 Frankenweenies.
Okay, there's at least 2. There are at least 2 Frankenweenie.
The original has Shelley Duvall in it. Did you know that?
I do not recall who Shelley Duvall is.
The mom from The Shining.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, number 11.
Dad refer to her olive oil from the Popeye film.
Popeye film?
Yeah.
Very
Of course,
cool.
look at her. That was so mean.
Why is it mean?
She just looks like olive oil from Popeye.
A very cool character. Okay.
It's good
11.
for omega-3s.
11. Little Monsters. It's on Hulu. It has Lupita Nyong'o guide a kindergarten class. What We Do in the Shadows has a great time doing that mockumentary style with vampires.
Taika Waititi.
Yes, and insert name here, Jermaine Clements. Thank you, Ben.
Jermaine.
Yes, isn't that what I said?
No, you said Jermaine, but that's okay.
No, I did. Why would I say Jermaine? That's not a name.
Mom, and you can.
Number 9, Zombieland.
You're gonna edit it.
I'm not gonna edit it. Okay, number 8, right, Poltergeist. Fair enough. I put
original or 2015 remake.
I heard
the one with the drones.
Was horrendous. It has drones. It
has the one with the drones.
Was horrendous. It has drones.
It has drones. Okay. So I don't want to go into it. I was about to go into it.
Yeah,
I was going to talk about the drones.
You come for Bride of Boogedy, and here we are discussing 2015's Poltergeist.
They sent drones into the other plane of the universe. I'll tell you. Drones into the other plane of the universe. I'll tell you that. And it was miserable.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
It was the height of drone talk.
Weird. Number 7, 2018 Halloween, which I was pleasantly surprised by. I think they did a really good job. They upped the murder, but they also kept the thrill of the first one. Number 5, The Exorcist. First time I've ever seen it. Really good. It's a slow burn. It takes its time. They probably could have cut out 20-30 minutes out of that movie, but still a really good one. Clue, always a favorite of mine. I love the multiple endings. Number 3, Cabin in the Woods. It really turns, it embraces the cliches while also doing something totally different. Then we got Coraline. Love Coraline. Brilliantly animated. Actually
started
scary.
It the other day. But I realized I've seen it so far this month twice. So I said, that's enough times. So I watched Fantastic Mr. Fox. So I said, that's enough times. So I watched Fantastic Mr. Fox instead.
Nice. That's a very fall movie, even though it doesn't have to be. And coming in at first place, Ben, is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Dang it. I was going to guess. How about I guess which year it was? Dang it. I was going to guess. How about I guess which year it was? I'm going to look them all up, and I'm going to guess which one it was.
And you're not going to think it's the original one? You're going to think I picked the third reboot as my favorite movie this month?
How about this? You tell me your thoughts on it, and I will guess which one it was.
It's the original. I will not be stained in thinking that people thought I liked the third reboot of Texas Chainsaw over all the other movies that I mentioned. So I won't let you have your fun here. Yeah, it really surprised me.
I mean, you could have watched the movie Leatherface that came out in 2017, and I would have had no idea.
Yeah, but you really thought I would have put it above all the other movies?
I don't know, maybe.
Well, I didn't. Oh, I also watched Bride of Boogedy this month. That would be number 1, obviously. So
I didn't. Surprise.
Interesting.
Tell me about this movie then, because I haven't seen it.
Okay. Well, I have the description right here for you. Would you like to hear?
I would love to.
All right. This sequel to Mr. Boogedy picks up sometime after the events of the first film. The Davis family has... You're going to sneeze right in the middle of my description?
You can keep going. Sorry.
The Davis family has moved on from its horrifying start to embrace their new life in their New England community, Lucifer Falls. As the town prepares for a local festival, Carlton Davis is asked to be the guest of honor, which is a lie. He's asked to be honorary mayor, and that is a key plot point. Tom Lynch, which is also a lie. This description is, I don't even know if they watched the movie. Oh my God. Okay. I'm reading through this, Ben. It is a train wreck.
How about you read it, and then don't you read it. Don't give any emotion, and I'll give my reaction.
Okay.
Don't give any emotion, and I'll give my reaction.
Okay. His rival in the novelty business, Tom Lynch, is jealous and is highly upset by this news. As Tom tries to sabotage the festivities, Carlton's two sons accidentally unleash Mr. Boogedy into the small town
Garbage
again, which is also incorrect. Mr. Boogedy.
No spoilers, though.
I know. Well, this is giving us spoilers, because look, Mr. Boogedy soon takes Carlton's wife for himself, forcing the remaining Davis family to band together to send him back to where he belongs. In their journey to send Mr. Boogedy back to where he came from, Tom finds Mr. Boogedy's magical coat and tries to use it for his own fiendish plans. Which is also not true.
This description has disappointed me. But nothing will piss me off more than that movie. And that's my thoughts on that.
That's your high road. That's anything my high road. That compares.
It has Sam Rockwell in it. Bad. It's his worst movie.
Iron Man 2, and then way down below.
Hit Moon. He's Sam Rockwell.
The movie Moon? Oh, you're saying... Wait, what?
I'm ranking Sam Rockwell's movies.
Okay.
And then all the way at the bottom.
Why did you say Sam Rockwell?
Because I couldn't remember another one. Oh, The Way, Way Back.
The 3 billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri. The 3 billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri.
That one. But Hitchhiker's Guide at the top for me. And then Poltergeist at the bottom.
That clean slap sound.
It was a clean slap. All right.
And then I just realized I did kind of like an anime gasp. If
Sam Rockwell was in this movie, he would have done better than he did in Poltergeist. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Well, who else stars in this film? Movie, Ben?
Oh, the golfer from 1987. I had to clarify that for you. So we have a few people who star in this movie. There's a lot of people who come back. Thankfully, a majority of the original Davis family comes back. So the people that you got coming back is Richard Masur, Mimi Kennedy, David Faustino, and that's Corwin Davis. A replacement, though, however, from Christy Swanson, who was playing Jennifer in the first one, and she gets replaced with Tammy Lauren. And Joshua Rudoy replaces... Yeah, she's the daughter. Joshua Rudoy replaces... Benji Gregory as Ari Davis, which, as we talked about last time, is spelled A-U-R-I-E, but stands for R.E.
Bizarre.
If I can remember correctly.
I did not realize that one of the kids got replaced because they both look really similar to the previous children. So I did not write that down. Thank you, Ben, for catching that.
Yes. Also, Jonathan got replaced.
So I did not write that down. Thank you, Ben, for catching that.
Yes. Also, Jonathan got replaced.
Yeah. Jonathan?
Yeah, the little ghost boy.
Oh, okay.
And that's not spoilers.
You'd think I'd know. I saw this last night. It's not.
I know.
It's not.
I know. That's
Leonard Fry is an actor, and he was also in this movie. He shows up as a character named Walter Witherspoon, the eccentric owner of or manager of the Historical Society here in Lucerne, named Neil Witherspoon, who also was the manager of the Historical Society in the first movie, but he was not in the film. So instead of just recasting like they did with the other people, they changed his name. So like I wasn't sure because they were like acting like they knew who he was. So I wasn't sure if like they were just trying. So that was like,
yeah,
I don't know. I felt like I had to share that. I had to put that down for you.
There was a few things that I had noticed. And first of all, let's give Mr. Witherspoon the appreciation he deserves. He's a curator of the Historical Society. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. You're right.
Manager is demeaning very much.
Okay, thank you. You're right.
Manager is demeaning. And then there was some goofs that I had seen about this movie, specifically the one talking about Neil versus Walter Witherspoon. Something over here.
Do you think that was like they forgot Neil's name?
This one says John Aston, who played.
Got Neil's name?
This one says John Aston, who played Walter in the first one. He was busy with other projects, and his character, Walter Witherspoon, was removed and replaced with a similar character, where his character Neil Witherspoon was replaced with a similar character, Walter Witherspoon, Neil's apparent brother, although it was specified.
Yeah, I wish they could have just said like, "Hey, where's Neil?" I don't know. It doesn't really matter because this is a TV movie from the 80s.
Yeah, but like to replace John Astin is like it's just a ballsy move.
That's true. There is another significant actor in this film, Eugene Levy, owner of the general store. He is not a novelty salesperson.
In fact, he's a bad novelty salesperson. A bad one at that.
He just runs the general store, so he's got like a bargain bin for, invisible eyes or whatever. That's all it is.
Yeah, like invisible eyes. Just like holding one right now, you can't see it because it's an invisible eye. So
it was they had pet rocks and invisible eyes, very popular gifts in the 1980s. It
scares me so much. The thought of an invisible eye. Would you be able to see with an invisible eye? Because it works on refracting the light through your lenses, right? With an invisible eye, because it works on refracting the light through your lenses, right? But if your lenses were invisible, then the light
but you can see through contacts.
So if you had invisible, okay, but they're a lens. But if your eye was invisible, if your eye was invisible,
Eugene Levy,
it wouldn't work. Your rods and cones would break.
Many people would know Eugene Levy from being the guy with the big black eyebrows, or from Schitt's Creek,
Beautiful eyebrows,
which is a very popular show. Yep. Yes, I did not swear. If I swore, I would have put a bleep in it. Like I would have put, and it would have bleeped just like that. Ben, you didn't actually hear the bleep, but I'm going to put it in editing.
I was just imagining that you just
I
think at all.
I don't swear. I never swear on this podcast. So every time I have to bleep myself, whoa! How dare you say something so foul that I had to bleep it out just now?
That's
disgusting. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I really appreciate it.
If you want to,
really appreciate
if you want to leave that, leave that one in.
No, I'm not leaving that one in. That's a dirty.
My
word.
mom listens to this.
Yeah, she does. She's 10% of our audience base. So, hey, Mom.
Yep.
Welcome back. Happy Halloween. Okay, this movie's twice as long as. This movie's twice as long as Mr. Boogedy. Which I was kind of like, what are they going to do to fill the time? Yeah, it's Mr. Boogedy Boogedy or Mr. Boogedy Mr. Boogedy or Mr. Boogedy to the power of 2.
It's just Boogedy Boogedy.
Boogedy Boogedy Mr.
It's Boogedy Giddy.
What if it's Boo Boo Giddy Giddy?
Yes. Okay.
How about it's
question. Would you watch
Miss Boo Giddy Stir?
Would you watch Mr. Boogedy twice instead of watching this once?
No, I actually really enjoyed this movie. So I'd love to get into the more nitty gritty details of it. But I was trying to think like, how would they fill the time with this? And they fill it with heart, and they fill it with jokes, and they fill it with Incredibles. They turned out to be real. That's crazy.
I know. They really pulled a fast one on you. The visual effects in this one look a lot better than 2015's Poltergeist. I'll tell you that.
What?
They look a lot better.
To be frank, I don't know if it's because
they look a lot better.
To be frank, I don't know if it's because I had low expectations from the first movie coming in, or if I was already used to the goofy style of it, that I wasn't like sidelined by it. But I had a good time with Bride of Boogedy. What about you?
I came into it having the expectation of it being worse than the first Mr. Boogedy film. And I left it happy. I thought it was pretty good.
You have a very good podcast voice at times.
Thank you. I've been told. I thought it was pretty good overall. It was a lot better writing wise, I think, than the first one. The first one was like decent, and it was trying to be very cheesy, trying to be a cheesy family friendly horror movie, but it does it in like a fun, even like ridiculous way for even the people watching it. Like you're watching this and you go, oh wow, that scene or that joke was just so dumb and like cheesy that it has to have been self-aware when they wrote that. Like there's no way that they could have just written that and then it came out like naturally that corny.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not like a Troll 2 kind of bad, not Trolls World Tour, but like Troll 2 80s film. Look it up if you're curious.
A masterpiece.
But like if you're curious.
A masterpiece.
But like it came off at many times just being corny but still fun, which I appreciated because there wasn't many times of this movie where I was like, that was kind of gross, or this is a little cheesier than I expected it. But that happened a lot with the first one.
I agree.
If that makes any sense. Easier than I expected it. But that happened a lot with the first one.
I agree.
If that makes any sense.
It does make sense.
I also thought it
felt more embraced. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I also think that like the family dynamics and the writing and dialogue and stuff for this movie was more like not better because it's still troll, whereas like the first one was trying to like put jokes into everything, where this one kind of felt more like, okay, let's just make it like a movie, like a cheesy little movie instead. So there's lots of parts where the kids are like, Dad, I saw a spooky thing, and the dad's like, ha ha ha, no you didn't. And it's vibes from that kind of dialogue, where the first one was kind of like, Dad, I saw a spooky thing. And it's like, oh, I bet it was just a ghosty prank. Ha ha ha, just kidding. Which was rough. So this one's a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, there's still moments where like the parents aren't believing them and stuff like that. But they get in on it as the time rolls around.
Hey, I want to hear a spooky thing real quick that I noticed during the filming of this film. Not really spooky at all. But if you go and you look at the cinematographer for The Bride of Boogedy, on IMDb, it is credited towards a man named King Baggot, Baggot. That's the cinematographer. I was like, that's curious. That's a fun name. So I looked him up. The man died in 1948.
What?
This man's died in 1948.
And he's credited as a cinematographer?
So he's credited as a cinematographer for this movie in both the credits and the Wikipedia and the IMDb. So I was like, that's very... I looked up King Baggot. First of all, this guy's worked on so much. The first film he worked on was 1911's Sweet Memories. This man's is old. And I was like, oh, he's got like a pretty good reputation. I was like, wow. And then I didn't look at any of the dates. I was like, caveman wooing, absinthe. Oh, these all sound kind of spooky. I bet that's why they chose him. And then I looked and I saw 1911 and I was like, wait, no, he's dead. But then I looked it up. Turns out there's another guy named King Baggot.
Okay.
Yeah, just another one. His name is Stephen King Baggot. He was born in 1943, so he was born like 5 years. It's Stephen King Baggot. He was born in 1943, so he was born like 5 years earlier. But, there's just some confusion there. Gotcha, clearly one's a lot more popular than the other.
Yeah, I was very, taken aback.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we had this King Baggot. BuzzFeed Unsolved here.
Right? I thought I did too. This Baggot.
BuzzFeed Unsolved here.
Right? I thought I did too. This King Baggot worked on
I don't
the
like
Cheech and Chong movie, so I know. Should I not say it?
Well,
name.
I know it's his name, but what if it's like Baggot?
Oh, I don't think it is though.
Yeah, King Bagot.
Because it's one T. Wait.
It's one T?
Yeah.
Then it's probably not. Well, I don't know.
It's impossible.
Whatever. Very interesting production designer.
Yeah, this guy worked on Cheech and Mr. King Bagot or Baggot or Baggot, however you like to say it. I don't know at all. Yeah, so mystery. That's a spooky thing. Oh, his wife died on my birthday. That's fun. Cool. Well, that's all the spooky stuff I had about that. Oh, I also had a thing. I searched for probably an hour and a half to try and find the budget of this movie, and I never found it.
Yeah, I think TV budgets are probably more difficult too, especially from the 80s.
Let's just guess. Let's just tell the listeners what we know the budget is.
40.
Let's just guess. Let's just tell the listeners what we know the budget is.
49,687.
I was going to say $416.
Well, it's probably somewhere between there or above.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep, we nailed it.
You heard it here first. Hot scoop. We have. You heard it here first. Hot scoop. We have determined the estimated budget for 1987's Bride of Boogedy. So, you're welcome.
That's it.
Yeah, but overall impressions wise, I like this movie. It was a fun time. I laughed out loud a couple times. I really liked the Eloise, the mother.
Mm-hmm.
I loved her occasional jokes to like, oh, that husband of mine. But it would be like, I don't know. They like tapped into our type of humor like today somehow in some of these moments where they were just like the absurdity. And I think like absurd humor is how like memes and Gen Z continue to like operate is because of the thrill of the unknown, because like I'll laugh at a TikTok that's just a bad JPEG of a dodgeball and it makes the noise.
It is a good TikTok though.
Yeah, I've seen
it's so good. Funny. I don't know why. TikTok though.
Yeah, I've seen
it's so good.
Funny.
I don't know why.
But if you showed that to Mother, she'd be like, "What?"
Yeah, we probably have to play it twice. Love you, Mom. I think that's all part of. They thankfully got the same. I don't think
she would laugh the second time either.
I don't think so. Maybe if we just say like "boing" when it happens.
Maybe.
I don't know. I feel like I'd laugh at that. I think it's because they got the same director and the same. They got the same writer too, and like most of the same cast as we'd already mentioned. I was even looking at some of their production crew. They had a lot of the same makeups directors, visual effects people. Don't take my word on that. I can't remember. So a lot of the cast and crew were the same people. So thankfully they got to keep that. They kept that same energy with the second one, which is super good. Another Oz Scott film, whom we love. So yeah, I think all in all, as we said, the writing was a lot better. Kind of in a way like how Caspar's Revenge is actually a lot better than Halloween Town High. Calabar's Revenge. Casper's Revenge. That'd be a movie.
Why haven't they rebooted Casper yet? They're like milking all these other franchises from the 90s.
We don't need another Casper remake.
Friendly Ghost right now.
Hey, listeners, homework assignment and brother, look up why Casper's a ghost on your free time.
Okay.
That's it. That's your homework. Look it up.
I'm excited.
Get a box of tissues and get ready to cry.
Oh, Jesus. How it is such a similar production team. It almost feels like this is the movie they wanted to make because it's similar, but it's longer. So it's like, we know it's cheesy, so we're embracing that. We're like, almost everyone is cheesy, right? The townsfolk, the fortune teller, the general store owner. Everyone has that like camp to them, and I think like because that was embraced and they had more time to like tweak this movie and make what it is, and it's good. Yeah.
And then I think, do we want to get into spoilers at all?
Yeah, let's get right into it. So
okay.
Before
spoilers,
hold on.
Sam Rockwell makes the 2015 Poltergeist movie roughly 20 years after this.
Yes.
And his career never recovered.
So we said some errors in the description were false. So do you want to go ahead and try to tell me what happened in this movie, brother?
Do you want me to do it on the first episode?
Like a paragraph.
Or that one episode? Yeah. Like a paragraph?
Yeah.
I can't do that much.
Oh, are you trying to be like
9 No, give me like
9 words.
9 words. Okay. I need you to keep count on screen. Otherwise, I will lose count. My brain's going to do what working. Boogedy is.
You're going to waste 1/9 of your words on is.
Yeah, I am. Okay, I'll start over.
I'd give it to you.
I'll start over.
Yeah.
Boogedy back.
Okay.
Boogedy back. Okay.
Okay.
Boogedy back. Okay. But maybe not.
4 words left.
Tom Lynch may be bad. That's it. That's it. I got it. That's 9. Boogedy back, but maybe not. Tom Lynch may be bad.
All right,
that's what we've read from the description. That's completely correct.
Can I try?
Yeah, go for it. Dying again? Okay, ready? Wait. So you just can't do it because I already did it.
I'm doing it right now. What do you mean? Count.
I already got the 9 word.
Capitalism reigns supreme. Boogedy's back. There was a comma there. Boogedy's back. Hornier than ever.
Yeah, one more. Capitalism reigns supreme. Boogedy's back.
Hornier than ever.
Oh, I still got one more.
I got one more.
We both just held up 8.
Gag City.
There's no hyphen in Gag City. I'm just gonna have to give you the word gag, which isn't really good at all. But you started it, so all right. Well, moving on. Spoilers.
So maybe we can't knock Disney Plus for their descriptions.
Well, guess what? They had the paragraph.
Yeah, they had a paragraph. We have 9 words to work with, people.
If they have the power to create the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they can create a dang correct description.
Yep. Well, if these 2 brothers haven't convinced you enough to watch this movie, spoilers are now continuing forward here. Boogedy dies.
The dad dead.
The dad doesn't die.
The dad died because he goes in the attic and there's asbestos in there. It's the 80s.
That wasn't in the movie though.
Oh,
can't make assumptions.
Lucifer Falls. You don't have the fun. Well, you have a fun little intro with Neil or Walter or whomever Witherspoon. He's like, which telling was so weird because he was a different person for some reason.
Right. So I was like, why are you hanging out with children?
Yeah. But either way, it's still weird that he hung out with all of the kids. But I was like, maybe
even
this is
regardless,
like a summer camp or something. It's not. It's just telling a camp story, which I guess is fine because he's like the curator of the historical society and he can do that. Tell stories. I mean, I guess I don't know. But anyways, we get back in Lucifer Falls and we follow this guy. He's wearing like a suit, little hat, briefcase. He's walking up to the Davis house, as we remember from suit, little hat, briefcase. He's walking up to the Davis house, as we remember from the first movie. This is after we watch Walter tell a spooky story about Mr. Boogedy, of course. And then this guy goes into the house, and we see that the Davises, before he gets there, are going to try and prank the fella, so that we know when he gets in there, there's going to be a prank, and they try and spook him and everything. Gets there, are going to try and prank the fella, so that we know when he gets in there, there's going to be a prank, and they try and spook him and everything. Blah 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 blah. Do a really good spook. Actually, they all dress up, pretty crazy. They do a real good jump scare there. They dress up like ghouls or whatever. There's a theme. The theme.
Yeah, they got because they got cobwebs on them, and they're like
a wet toilet paper like costume, where they all got like flashlights on their faces, and they're like, "Oh, beware the spider!" And they drop like a 10-ton spider on him from the ceiling, which probably would have killed him, but it doesn't.
You think it was
so we move on?
Concrete and rebar?
Mm-hmm. At least 6,000 pounds.
Rebar.
It's a lot, and then get it again.
I thought you were saying bard as in the reference to like the character class.
Oh, I was. And then I realized that might not hit the same as just saying a joke about the bar exam.
So you thought a D&D joke on a pop culture podcast would not
is too neat. Talking about lawyers is more comprehensible.
Everyone loves lawyer jokes.
Yes, clearly they do. A lawyer walks into a bar, nails it, wins. I don't know. He wins the exam. I don't know how this works. He wins the exam. I don't know how this works.
Gold star.
Either way, we find out the guy that they scare is Carlton's brother Elmer, and he's going there to tell Carlton that he got a big job.
Lie. He got Eloise's brother.
Oh, he's brother-in-law. Sorry, he's Eloise's brother Elmer, and he's going to tell Carlton whom he works with. He's Eloise's brother Elmer, and he's going to tell Carlton whom he works with at the Gag City Corporate or whatever it is. He says, "Hey, Carlton, you got I forget what title it was. I was gonna write it down, but Carlton gets offered
something.
Yeah, it's like Whoopee coordinator of the year or whatever it is. He gets offered this big job back in Chicago. So they're like, hey, you can leave Lucifer Falls and whatever. And he's like, nah, this is my town. These are my people. And this is all like after we know that Mr. Boogedy was just in their house, like a month and a half ago, and they sucked him up into a vacuum into another dimension. But they love the place too much. And then we find out that Carlton was elected mayor of the Lucifer Falls Supernatural Super Duper Third Eye Carnival.
Lucy Fest. The only festival with a third eye.
Super duper supernatural third eye.
So weird. So almost
sounds like the president
whole
referring to missiles, huh?
I guess.
Super duper hydrosonic missile.
Has he said that?
You can edit that part out. Yeah, he did. He said we had a super duper missile.
He's absurd. Hey, everyone, vote November 3rd.
You can edit that part out.
Vote
you can edit
November
that part
3rd.
out. Just edit
November 3rd.
Edit that part out.
Vote
you can edit
November
that part
3rd.
out. Just edit in the vote November 3rd like 8 times in a row and then make it louder each time.
How about I don't do any of that and they can just hear you telling me what to do all the time? How's that?
I don't edit these. So
I just sassy snapped. I just sassy snapped.
You did. It was good. You didn't do a Z formation though, so it doesn't count.
So the whole family is at the house when Elmer's there, except for Jennifer. She's coming back from babysitting and she hears Mr. Boogedy. Uh-oh, he says, Jennifer, out of my house, or something like that, right? Runs in, they don't believe her, obviously. And then hard cut to the next meeting in town about Lucy Fest. They're like, where are we going to have it? The cow pasture, he doesn't want us to be there or something. Right?
Antagonist from
Eugene
just the
Davis.
description, whatever. Eugene Levy.
Eugene Levy.
Close though.
The Davis.
Yeah, Eugene Levy. He's the capitalist bureaucrat who likes to host the Farnival. Who likes to host the Farnival festival. The festival on his cow pasture every year. So kind of like he just holds it there. But this year he decides to charge everybody rent, which I think is respectable. Because later you see the popcorn mess that they make is respectable. Because later you see the popcorn mess that they make. And yeah. I wouldn't want to clean that up. But he's like, I'm going to charge everybody rent. And they're like, no, absolutely not. And they all just don't want to hold the festival anymore because this guy's greedy and wants to get paid to use his property. Which I think is a fair request.
Well, bizarrely, they're like, well, now where are we going to do it? And someone's like, Town Square. And they're like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. And it's like, what?
Yeah, Carlton's just like, hold it on the Town Square. And
you've
like,
never had like a festival on the Town Square.
Well, what's worse is they say, well, the original one was held on Town Square. And everyone plays.
I was thinking, like, are they leading it up to like an omen of like that's how Mr. Boogedy will return because everything's like when it was, you know what I mean?
He's just the ghost of a cow pasture that's upset that they don't get revenue.
Yeah, so that's how we get introduced.
I think that would make sense.
Eugene Levy.
I think that scene, they tried to make him seem like the bad guy for asking people for money, but like again, not a ridiculous request.
I suppose not. My brain has kind of lulled into understanding what happened next, but I do recall the two boys. They end up finding out about Mr. Boogedy, right?
How do they find out?
They hear him spookily, and then one night they have a bad dream and they see a green key. Have a bad dream and they see a green key, and they open up a door into town cemetery where William Hanover, Mr. Boogedy, has been laid to rest, and he starts like coming out of the statue, and they start to panic, and then they both share the same dream. No matter what, no matter how hard you try, Ben, you're never gonna have as incredibly vivid, immaculate dreams as I do. So,
ones in which you teleport from your house to the town cemetery through a skeleton key you find in the basement.
Exactly.
Got it. Yeah, but that happens, which is super weird. And then they try and like convince the parents, like, hey, Mr. Boogedy's back. Jennifer was right. And Jennifer's like, see? And then it kind of cuts to just like the town starting to get ready for the carnival and stuff. And then Carlton like shows the kids where they bought their new location for their Gag City prank joke store, right? And it turns out it's an old wax museum, which is super cool, actually. And
filled
as they're showing the
humans,
yes, it's just filled with people.
Figurines.
As they're showing the room around, you're like, wow, these are all classics. It's just filled with people.
Figurines.
As they're showing the room around, you're like, wow, these are all classic scenes from various horror movies. There's like a Dracula. I don't think there's a Frankenstein, but then there's like a Wolfman. There's a Jack the Ripper, and then a character, and then a lady who I saw in the cast was labeled Mrs. Ripper, which is funny. Mrs. Ripper, which is funny. And then, yeah, so all these people are clearly just humans dressed in makeup because that's a lot easier than, getting wax figures.
It probably is cheaper to hire an actor to play a mannequin than purchase even a mannequin, right?
Yes, because
that's crazy.
But here's my theory. We'll get to that later. My theory is something, but we see that, and the kids are like, "Oh, this place is really spooky." I did air quotes, by the way. We're introduced to this lady who they constantly refer to as a gypsy woman, even though she's not. Is a woman who, and I quote from the film, lives on the edge, ... of town. So she's apparently super cool, and she wears like a denim jacket and drives a motorcycle with a sidecar. And they meet her, and then she's like gonna run a seance service that they're gonna have. She's like gonna run a seance service that they're gonna have at the joke store for the Halloween Lucifer Falls Festival. And she kind of shows the kids that Mr. Boogedy still exists in this world, even though they thought they killed him. No, they thought they killed him. Yeah.
Yep. Then they move on, try to figure out what Mr. Boogedy's up to. They see Mr. Lynch.
Nothing good.
He's a meanie to him. They're just like, oh man, he's a meanie.
Garbage toys.
Yep.
Yeah, they're like, wow, you're really bad at these. Toys are all broken. He's like, hey, what kind of experts are you? And they don't answer that question, even though they could have said that we own a joke store. But he's like, this is the best joke store in town. And they're like, dog, this is a hardware store. And he's like, no, it's so yeah, that's when you're introduced to Mr. Lynch just being mean again, is because he's clearly and he says, I hate children. So you just clearly see him being a jerk to just set up basically him being mean for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, and Jennifer's like suspicious of everyone, so she's kind of thinking that like everyone's out to get her, everyone's acting like Mr. Boogedy. Like Tom Lynch has a pilgrim hat and a cape in his room. So she's like, oh, is it him? She kind of makes that face. There's this older woman in the town.
Mrs. Hooter.
Yeah. She older woman in the town.
Mrs. Hooter.
Yeah. She starts to assume that it's her because she wears a pilgrim hat and a cape all around.
I mean, I would assume.
That is a dead plot point and does not matter, is not resolved at all. So don't worry about it.
That is a good point.
They go to
That is a good point.
They go to the graveyard a little bit later in the movie. They meet the gravedigger Lazarus. He is incredibly dry. He does not add much to the plot.
He says, "Hi, I'm Lazarus. I dig graves." And other than that, he
does a great job at the fair as a ventriloquist.
He does so good. You can see his mouth not move or his throat, and you also hear a voice come out of the puppet that's doesn't even sound like his. It's wild.
It's like movie magic or something.
I know.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
So, the realizations have been confirmed. They end up finding the cloak later in the movie. Right? And Mr. Davis,
They don't find the cloak. Mr. Davis finds the cloak. No, nobody finds them.
Where does he find the cloak?
Here's what happens.
Does he find the cloak?
Here's what happens. I'll give it to you. 15 words or less. Ready? Joke store opens. Seance is done. Tom Lynch electrocutes Carlton Davis. Lightning strikes Boogedy statue. Mr. Boogedy's released. Mr. Boogedy's spirit flies through something and starts terrorizing the woods outside of the Davis's house. And the Davises are like, I think Tom Lynch is creeping outside. He's not. It's Mr. Boogedy's ghost. So Carlton goes out there to go check out who it is. And who gets possessed by the spirit of William Hanover, or Mr. Boogedy, as his friends call him. And Carlton is then possessed with the ghost of and he then is just creepy and just says Boogedy all the time when he burps. And that's basically the joke.
Oh my God. When he was possessed, it was incredible because he would do that.
It was beautiful.
He'd do that signature Davis line, just kidding. So he floated through the hallway and he would
say just kidding, which is funny because you're seeing the tagline of those two characters, Mr. Boogedy and Carlton, come out because he's possessed. So it's just I don't know, it's kind of funny. So there's parts where the kids are all sleeping and you don't know that his dad's possessed. Well, obviously we know, but the family down the hallway, and Jennifer's like, hey, Mom, Dad's floating down the hallway. And then he comes back and he's like, no, I'm not. And he just has a glass of milk that he slurps down in half a second. And he's like, burp.
Why would you think anything's wrong? Yeah.
He burps and says Boogedy. And you're like, ha ha ha, wow. Clearly he's Mr. Boogedy. Said William Hanover's place. But they go to Witherspoon's place and they're like, hey, my dad was floating down the hallway last night. And then with Mr. Witherspoon's like, well, your dad is weird, but not that weird. So let's talk about it. We don't figure out that he's actually possessed by Mr. Boogedy until some extra spooky stuff happens where I can't really recall. They just find out that he's fully possessed by everything.
He chases them in their house and then Uncle Elmer comes back to really prank them back. And so he has a gorilla suit on. And that makes
they're following him, and that's when they follow him to the basement and he uses that they're following him, and that's when they follow him to the basement, and he uses that same skeleton key that Ari and Corwin were talking about. Opens up a secret hallway, opens up a secret trapdoor thing, and pulls Mr. Boogedy's cloak out. So that's how we get to the cloak.
It. That's right. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah, so the cloak is embedded inside the foundation of the house, basically.
And he becomes unpossessed because Elmer made him laugh so much.
He becomes possessed when he puts on the cloak, but we find out that the cure for demonic possession is laughter.
Yeah, I think we're mixing this up a little bit. It's a little harder for us to remember. Possession galore. Occasionally when he's possessed, he wants to think that Eloise is Marion, who, if you recall from the first movie, is one of the pilgrim women that William Hanover, scary man, and she didn't want to be with him. So
yeah, I think the plot line was like he was old and she was young in the first movie, and she didn't like him, something like that.
Some more things happen, and then somehow, like the cloak gets stolen by none other than Tom Lynch. By none other than Tom Lynch. And he's like, man, I'm really going to show them who's boss, because he knows he has magical powers now.
I think they like threw it off their front porch or something, but Tom Lynch is definitely creeping on the house that time.
And I think he stole it.
He just picks it
from
up.
Their house because it was on the coat.
Creeping on the house that time.
And I think he stole it.
He just picks it
from
up.
Their house because it was on the coat or whatever, coat rack.
Oh yeah, he just like snatches it from their back door or something like that. But either way, not very nice of him. So then he uses it for nefarious deeds.
So this is the source of your power, Davis is. Like, no, they're just more charming than you.
He does steal it to use it for his own nefarious
Yeah, but it's
deeds.
not when they were trying to put back Mr. Boogedy, because Mr. Boogedy doesn't escape till like the last 15 minutes of the movie, because eventually Tom Davis gets possessed by Boogedy's spirit, walks his way to the graveyard. He gives the cloak away, and that's when Mr. Boogedy comes back, right during the festival. So obviously everyone's out and about. Boogedy's there. He does some zapping. The mannequins come along.
It's very Calabar's Revenge.
It is very Calabar's Revenge.
That's what I'm saying.
It exists because I have no love for that movie from my past. So
there is a part, however, that you did miss. It's when Tom Lynch puts the cloak on for the first time. So they're having like the festival's going on. Everybody's having a good time. Mr. Witherspoon's selling spinach and bacon bits flavored ice cream. Everybody's having a little joke where the Jennifer and the older woman in the town, Mrs. Hooter, are wearing the same costume. It's kind of funny. But then they go to the Gag City store where they have the wax museum and everybody's doing a seance or whatever. And Tom Lynch interrupts, and then he does a bunch of boogedy boos. This is when he first puts it on and gets possessed and does a bunch of boogedy boos. And then all of the human people all start moving. Wow, what a surprise. They all started moving. And then they just start knocking stuff over at the festival.
Yeah, it's like such a low-key like animation of them.
Yeah, it's very good though, because it does get that cheesy Halloween town vibe for me, at least.
And it's so funny, and are just kind of like, well, y'all quit it. Well, cut it out.
Yeah, they're just like yelling at the wax people. They're like, hey, stop it. Come back here. It's like, no, that's now what's an actual werewolf. Please don't yell at it.
Yeah, like, Carlton said, you've been unbelievably rude about this to one of the mannequins.
It's like, that is, but now that's Dracula. Leave him alone.
Right. Like, take a step back.
Back to, Mr. Boogedy just blowing up the town, basically.
Yeah, he's there. He's doing his boring zapping around.
His boogedy boos. At one point, he says, bippity boppity boo.
Really?
Which I caught. Bippity boppity boo.
Really?
Which I caught. Yes. That's actually Carlton says that when he's possessed by Mr. Boogedy. I rewound it. He says bippity boppity boo. He says boogedy boo a lot, and then he says bippity boppity boo, and then
maybe the actors
and there's an
just kind of forgot what
bippity boppity boo, and then
maybe the actors just kind of forgot what they were supposed to say.
How could you forget? It's the name of the movie.
Yeah, true. Maybe they're just in there trying to cash a check, you know.
But there's a lot of special effects during the carnival scene that are clearly just like a rope tied to the top of a tent, and then they just yank it so the tent gets knocked over. And that same special effect is used probably like 8 times. So the majority of the destruction of the carnival is just tents getting pulled over.
Yeah,
knocked over via magic, right? Via ghost, spirit, demon magic. A conjuring, one might say.
Ben, does the festival just...
Misery. So earlier, we'd skipped this, but Carlton, when he was possessed by Mr. Boogedy, stole Marion's clothes from the Historical Society to give to Eloise, to make Eloise look more like Marion so that Mr. Boogedy could...
Because he has always been searching for his love.
But it also doesn't make sense. So Eloise thinks that this costume is just like a pilgrim, or this outfit's just like a pilgrim costume, so she wears it to the festival. And then when Mr. Boogedy actually like comes alive and is terrorizing the place, he sees whom he thinks is Marion. He sees whom he thinks is Marion. He zaps her with some electricity. She gets the Bride of Frankenstein hair, and then she gets yoinked up alien style to the top of the gazebo in what feels like a Halloween Town 2 style, and then they disappear into another dimension. So Halloween Town 2 style, and then they disappear into another dimension. So now we know that Eloise has become the Bride of Boogedy.
She even has the distinct hair of like Bride of Frankenstein. And then that's kind of when I clicked together. I was like, oh, duh. It's supposed to be like Bride of Frankenstein. And
that took you that long? You read the description earlier.
Yeah. Well, like, it's called that because Bride of Frankenstein is the sequel to Frankenstein.
But it also is all about getting Frankenstein's monster a bride.
Yeah, but this one is, so it's almost as if it's parodying the name Bride of blank.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of Frankenstein, it's a boogedy. Boogedy.
I would prefer a boogedy over a Frankenstein, not gonna lie.
Yeah, so she's taken, what is there to do other than do another seance? They speak to Jonathan, the child ghost from the first movie.
Very important.
He says, hey, I'm going to go pull in some favors and I'll figure out how to get rid of this. So he's like, hey, that key that you conveniently still have on you opens a door to hell, which is also conveniently in your town. To hell, which is also conveniently in your town. Conveniently in Mr. Boogedy's gravestone.
It's literally his headstone.
Yes, they go. They open the door. Mr. Boogedy's there. He's like, you can't stop me. We're going into hell together. Wahaha. And their brilliant plan of deception is to dress up Jennifer also as Marion. And she goes,
yeah, I don't know how that happened. She just also has a Marion costume, which is confusing because it was never mentioned.
You can tell that it's like a more like a Party City.
Party City, please sponsor us.
Yeah, I'm okay.
I'll take cheap plates any day.
Don't you mean high quality recyclable paper plates?
Yep.
Found only in packs of 8 at your local Party City?
Yep.
You know. And so Mr. Boogedy's like, well, which one's which? So he just grabs Jennifer. He's like, I'll take her instead. And just dumps his current soon-to-be wife that he was supposed to live with for eternity. And then, they end up all holding her back so she doesn't fall into the hole, and Mr. Boogedy falls into the hole. And Mr. Boogedy falls into the hole.
Yeah, Mr. Boogedy gets sucked into the pits of Tartarus. And it's that really cheesy movie thing where like he's getting sucked into a portal and he's like trying to pull someone else with him. But then the entire family is like, well, if we all just link arms, we can pull a lot harder than them. But then the entire family is like, well, if we all just link arms, we can pull a lot harder. And it's like, yes and no. So they do that. And then thankfully is it Jennifer? They pull Jennifer away. Oh my goodness. It was so hard to tell because they're both wearing the same clothes.
Yeah, but they did it. The day is over. Boogedy has been defeated, and they walk away. And so we're telling you this like it's like the last chunk of the movie, but it's like the last 5 minutes. Like they straight up rush the ending. They're like, all right, she's been taken. We have to go to the gravesite. It's very quick. And so like spelling out this synopsis for you, I don't think it sounds as because you really have to see and hear the jokes and the camp and the goofiness behind it in order to really enjoy the experience, I think. So it's by no means a good film.
Rank it out of 10.
But I had a good time. Out of 10? Like
how about rank it out of gag cities? How many gag cities is it?
Well, there's only one gag city in the movie, so I'm going to give it a 1 gag city.
Okay, rank it out of 10. You're killing me.
I don't know, like a 6?
All right.
Like I was going to give it a movie with visible flaws. So 6.
All right.
Like I was going to give it a movie with visible flaws. So I'll give it a 6.
I'll give it a 5. Would you watch it again?
Yeah. Not like this week. Maybe a couple years down the road. I would watch this one again. I wouldn't watch Mr. Boogedy again. I don't know. Mr. Boogedy again. I don't know. Well, Ben, one of our questions on the Disney Bus podcast is, was this the worst or was this the weirdest on Disney Plus? So you can also say both, or you could say none. So it's not really much of a question, to be frank.
I think it's not. I think it's actually a pretty good film. I know I just gave it a 5, but in terms of, okay, I'll give it a little thing. If you're looking for a decent Disney Channel original Halloween movie, this is
really selling it.
Also feels a lot like all the other Disney Channel original Halloween movies.
And so folks, I just want you to know for a movie that
what?
I want you to know that Ben isn't trying to like hit a word count or anything. That's just how he's talking right now.
That's how my brain works. If you want a movie like that has Halloween Town vibes,
it reminded me of VeggieTales,
Hocus Pocus vibes, watch Mr. Boogedy Part 2 or Bride of Boogedy.
It's not called Part 2.
There's no really not get the Bride of joke.
Not that it was like in link to Bride of Frankenstein.
Bride of joke.
Not that it was like in link to Bride of Frankenstein.
But like Bride of Chucky's also another one.
Right. And then I was kind of like,
granted, it's
yeah, don't worry. All right. I would give it weirdest because it is weird. It's a weird movie, especially compared to watching some boring like 2020s Mulan, right? Like 2020s Mulan, right? On
yes.
Plus. So
don't watch it.
I heard I saw a clip from the movie where like when she's a kid, she like runs down the side of a building and like slices at stuff. So she's like an expert swordsman running acrobatic stuff as like this 8. One is she's taking this risk for her father, for her family to like bring honor. And she's not this like expert fighter. She's not this.
Yeah, but she's like a Green Beret soldier already. And right. Like, hey, chill out.
I'm like, I have no interest in watching that film. I will.
And she's also pro.
Super fun.
Yes. But okay, yeah, this movie's not the worst and it's not the weirdest, but it is weird. I did like it for giving that cheesy Hocus Pocus Halloween Town nostalgia, as it feels the same with the writing and the jokes and the humor, but it is very different story-wise, and it fits jokes and the humor, but it is very different story-wise, and it fits really well into the universe, obviously, of the first movie. So they're very good first and second movie pairing.
Whereas, yeah, it was a fun follow-up. It like fleshed out more of what I wanted to see and hear. Fleshed out more of what I wanted to see and hear from the family.
Yeah, like there's some movies that have sequels that aren't great, especially older movies, but this one's actually pretty decent when you combine the two together.
Yeah. Overall. Fun
That's
times.
Good.
Happy Halloween, Ben. Appreciate you doing this with me.
Yes, of course. I have nothing going on.
Other than school and avoiding a plague that covers our country.
And voting.
Yeah, vote November 3rd or vote early. You probably can't now. It's
days. Yep. I did vote about a month and a half ago. I will say that.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Well, we are a podcast after all. You probably know that because you're listening to this very episode. We also,
or if you're just watching the episode, congrats.
Yeah, I don't know how you got into our, but I hope you.
It might just be watching the waveform, the MP3 file.
Oh,
just watching it go through instead of listening.
Yeah, maybe they put their screensaver on. You know, like the pipes on Windows XP.
What waveforms of words do you think would look similar? Like, what waveforms of words do you think would look similar? Like 2 words that would look similar waveform-wise.
Probably words that sound similar, like what and
I guess you're right. Words that rhyme would probably. I was like, never mind. Like duck and fuck. Like, never mind. Like duck and fuck.
Yeah. Yes, so thank you.
Sorry. Yeah, that's the Disney Bus podcast. Sorry for ruining the end of that.
We're also on Twitter. Our DMs are open there, so you can send us
Send me spam.
We would prefer you send us suggestions or show topic ideas, we'd love to hear that. Season 2 of the Disney Bus podcast is coming very soon, asterisk, because our mental health is really important, and making sure that we have a balance.
Brother edits everything. I don't know how to, so he will take his time.
Heck yeah. You can also email us if you don't like Twitter at at disneybuspodcast@gmail.com, all one word. And then if you like our fun humor or our political rants or our movie reviews, follow us on the Twitter sphere. I'm at Dex likes the number 2 tweet. Dex likes to tweet at twitter.com.
Don't follow me on Twitter, but
at twitter.com.
Don't follow me on Twitter, but if you feel the need to, go for it.
Okay.
It's at Ben_Andrews3566.
Are you on the Instagram?
I am the same thing on Instagram.
Oh, perfect. The links to our accounts are in the description on this episode below. So just
check out my brother's movie thread on his Twitter. He tweets about all the movies he watches, more or less all of them.
For 3 long years, I have been tweeting movie reviews.
See, that's the Twitter you deserve, listeners. My Twitter is not what you deserve. Spam me instead. I'll like, comment, and subscribe to every single tweet I get.
Subscribe to all the tweets.
Yes.
Sounds like the right lingo. All right, folks. I hope you had a good, safe, happy, healthy Halloween. And you're wearing your mask.
Or if you're listening to this next year right before Halloween, I hope you have a good Halloween this upcoming weekend.
Yes, and hopefully we are not wearing masks next Halloween.
If you're listening to this 10 years from now, a month and a half before Halloween, I hope you have a good Halloween in a month and a half.
Are you just going to keep going?
2026 on January 1st. I hope you have a good January, and then your Halloween is good in a few months. That's all I got. Okay, I'm done.
All right, thanks. Bye.
It's my intro.
I'm your oldest brother, Dexter McElroy.
We're going to get copyright strike.